Hi, welcome to the Quipster Film Review Podcast. I'm Vince Leo. I'm the film critic for the website Quipster.net. I've been doing film reviews since 1996, and you can read over 3,800 of my written reviews at that website, Quipster.net, Quipster.net. Today I'm going to be looking at a film that is currently out in a very limited selection of theaters around the United States. However, if you happen to want to watch it today, you can do so by going to iTunes or Google Play or Amazon, and you can pay, I think, about $7 or so to see it. It's called Morris from America. It's a drama/comedy, R-rated because of teen drug use and partying, sexual material, brief nudity, and language throughout. It's an hour and 31 minutes. The cast includes Markees Christmas and Craig Robinson primarily, with supporting roles going to Lena Keller and Carla Jury. The director and screenwriter is Chad Hartigan. Morris from America is a coming-of-age story. It's about a pudgy 13-year-old African-American kid. His name, of course, is Morris Gentry. He lives with his widower soccer coach father, Curtis, played by Craig Robinson, in this place where there are very few, if any, who look like them, Heidelberg, Germany. Under a suggestion by his German instructor named Inka, Morris makes some attempts to make friends while in his new environment. Then he meets an impulsive 15-year-old local named Katrin, with whom he's instantly attracted. In fact, he's been stalking her a little bit, but he's not quite sure if she feels the same way. Katrin is a very mischievously flirty young woman, and she tries to get him out of his shell by unplugging the headphones that he perpetually wears as he walks through life, and he ends up going with her to various parties with other local kids around his age, much to his father's chagrin because he wants to know where Morris is. Morris has to contend with the fish out of water experience firsthand because he is striving to break out of his comfort zone in a place where there are very few people that he can really fit in with. Perhaps the crush on Katrin is the only way he's going to be able to be compelled enough to try. However, following the heart can also lead to heartache in this very tender time of confusion for many young teens. That's kind of the setup. The greatest strength of this mostly spot-on dramedy comes with its casting. There's an especially strong, vulnerable performance from Markees Christmas as the young and out-of-sorts Morris. He really imbues his character with a very rounded, very real personality that actually has us believe in him as this three-dimensional person right from the get-go, and that helps what happens throughout the course of the rest of this movie. Initially, if you've seen the movie, you might be reminded of the young Ricky Baker, the young gangster rap wannabe character who was about the same age as Morris. He was in Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilder People. There are definitely similarities there to be found, except for Morris is much more grounded in this kind of reality, whereas Ricky Baker was much more idealized in a comedy. And I think that makes us instantly connect with him as a person in this coming-of-age story. Perfectly complementing Markees Christmas is Craig Robinson. This is a surprisingly layered, dramatic role. He's playing Morris's loving father, Curtis. We come to learn through the nuance of his character that Curtis is really seeing within Morris many of the same feelings, the same desires that he himself felt at his age. And he wants to be his friend. He wants to be his confidant as much as his disciplinarian, but he's still his father, so he has to do that. But he doesn't want to be completely shut out of his son's mind or his heart or from knowing many of his life experiences. You know, Morris doesn't have any friends except for his father generally, so he feels it's really important that they stay on the same team, as he says. Swiss actress Carla Jury and a relative newcomer in Lena Keller are also quite wonderful, breathing life into smaller roles as Morris's concerned tutor and the wild child friend who might be more, respectively. They did a wonderful job in filling in all these various roles with exactly the right people to bring it to life. In fact, Morris from America feels so authentic in its characterizations, you'd probably be very surprised once you're done watching it to learn that its writer-director Chad Hartigan is not black. He doesn't have any kids. He doesn't know German. He's not even originally from America. He was born and raised in Nicosia, Cyprus, to an Irish father and a mother from Nevada. And yet, this film features characters that feel nearly as real as a documentary. It only indulges in stereotypes except to comment in some way about them. The German kids all suspect that this black kid, Morris from America, should naturally know how to play basketball or to dance amazingly. Yes, he does want to rap, but I don't think that that is necessarily a stereotype, because I think many white kids and Mexican kids and people from all around the world, including Germany, has a very distinct underground rap scene. So, this is not necessarily limited to just black kids in films. The interesting thing is that Morris is an introvert, so he doesn't really want to do any of those things, and he even has a hard time with rapping. Even though he writes the raps, it's another thing to actually do it in front of a crowd of people, and he certainly is not interested in playing basketball or dancing, which are other things that he doesn't want to embarrass himself by doing. The keen sense of music in Morris from America is also really refreshing. As somebody who's an aficionado of hip-hop for many, many years, I actually used to DJ hip-hop throughout the 1990s. I really like the song selection here. It starts with Father Curtis imparting knowledge of true hip-hop by playing Jeru the Damage's underground anthem from 1993, Come Clean. And then later on, we get an old school tape that was made by Curtis doing his own supposedly freestyle rap, but he actually was doing the lyrics to Juicy by Notorious Big. And then finally, there's this slow jam seduction song, R&B song really, only a neophyte to romance would actually fantasize to, Miguel's The P Is Mine. I can't really say the actual title. It should be noted that Morris's first attempt to write a rap song, which is this raunchy braggadocio that his father, Curtis, chastises him for not speaking true, is very offensive, and it's kind of funny that Curtis is not really objecting to the actual lyrics, but to the fact that Morris actually didn't live the rhymes. It's called Effing All the Bees. I can't really say the name of the title for this podcast, but the funny thing about this song is that it actually was written by Chad Hartigan himself when he was 12 years old. So he's bringing a lot of himself into this character, even though their life experience is very different. There's a freestyle rap that Morris performs later in the film that's credited to a Pasadena rapper named Jay Hurt. He's not signed, but apparently he's quite talented. Because so much about Morris from America rings true to its characters, I'd say that this is an easy recommend for those viewers who enjoy indie coming-of-age stories that have unconventional perspectives. Hip-hop heads will probably enjoy this more than most because it is definitely speaking to that side of things, but there's plenty for most audiences who don't even care about rap at all to relate to. You don't have to have experience knowing what it's like to be a 13-year-old black American kid living in Heidelberg. I think the list of people who would relate to that would be unsurprisingly short, but I think there's something we can all relate to in terms of we all went through the angst and the awkwardness of teenage years, the loneliness that we might experience being in a place where we don't fit in. I think that's a common feeling for many, and certainly makes Morris's story very relatable, even if we don't have the same background. And I think that that's why Chad Hartigan, being a white guy from Europe, can still instill a feeling of realness into his characters. He was a hip-hop head himself, so I think that, a lot of what he's bringing to this film comes from that background too. It's funny, it's poignant, it's incisive, and definitely delivered. I think that this is the kind of movie that has you hoping it's going to get the same kind of treatment that Richard Linklater's Before series gets, because I would love to peek in and see how Morris is progressing from time to time as the years roll on. He feels very real, and I like him a lot. So I'm going to recommend Morris from America. 3.5 stars out of 4 is what I'm going to give it. 3.5 stars on my scale means that I think that this is a good film. I think that most people who give it a chance are going to enjoy it. If you like coming-of-age stories, if you like, comedy, dramas, especially if you're somebody who loves hip-hop from the 90s through today, you're going to find a lot to relate to. The only thing that I wish that it could do is to reach out to teenagers who are going through a lot of the same things. It's an R-rated film, so I think a lot of parents are going to steer their kids away from this film because of the subject matter. There is drug use in the film. There's some sexuality that comes into play here, but if I were a 15-year-old kid or 16, I would have probably loved this film and not really had any problems with it. So if your kid listens to, I would say, kind of explicit rap, certainly they can take this for sure. 3.5 stars out of 4 is what I'm giving Morris from America. I hope that you enjoy this review, and I hope if you do see this film that you do enjoy it as well. If you do, or even if you don't, you can write to me and let me know how you feel about the movie. You can go to quipster.net and find my contact information, QWIPSTER.net, where I also have links to my Twitter feed and Facebook page. If this is your first time listening, please click subscribe, and if you have already subscribed and you've been listening for a while and you want to help the show, you can do that in two ways. One is to go to iTunes and leave a review, and the other is to go to patreon.com/quipster and leave a donation. Until next time, thanks everyone for listening, and I hope that you enjoy your time anytime you get to go to the movies, even if you're streaming or downloading a VOD release like Morris from America at home.